quotation marks, it'll just happen perfectly. You should just know somehow. You should just have this magnetic thing. And keep in mind, girls think this too. So girls are also told that, oh, don't expect to get off because guys don't know. So they already expect disappointment. They already go into it, not all of them obviously, but I'm talking about like people who don't know anything yet. They go into it expecting disappointment already. So they already lower their standards. So you have multiple cases of young girls not coming and then faking and telling the boys, and then the boys end up growing this ego that they feel, oh, so it was right. Me being enough of a man meant that I did my job right. And then it reinforces that mentality where it's like, oh, yeah, just be enough of a man, you know, if you do your job, it's okay. And that's why it just continues this loop where there's all this frustration around, because people don't feel they don't understand the idea that attraction has nothing to do, once you get down to the nitty-gritty, of the actual mechanics. And every fucking vagina is different. So if you don't know, and this is someone you ask. However, this is another problem too, because I will say this, so because of the stigma that people have when it comes to sex, they expect men to just know. A man can sometimes feel too scared to ask, because they feel like if they ask and out of nowhere, they're going to be like laughed at, or like say, okay, get out. Because I've heard stories of that from my friends. Like my girlfriends have even said, oh yeah, I've had one time this dude asked me, what should he do? She said, I'm not gonna fucking instruct nobody like that. I ain't got time for that. I was like, but you were in bed with him. You said you wanted to get off, right? Yeah.
You know what's another weird thing is,
you didn't want to use the 2 minutes to just tell this man how
where
to get you off.
Where are you supposed to learn? That
exactly. You can only learn from experience.
Like, as fucked as that sounds, yeah, that definitely calls me out as being a virgin. But like, where are you actually supposed to learn? You know?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. So that's where this stigma comes from, and that's where, this is another important thing, this is where that fear that roots around in a lot of young boys' minds. Like, incels have always existed. Let's not pretend like this is a new thing. I know the media pretends like this happened in fucking 2020, but incels have always been a thing. And I said this one time on a video talking about their Reddit, and I said the saddest thing about them is the root of their problem stems from fear. They have this mentality of the world, either from bad experiences or from just being too scared to ever try, where they feel like they will be shamed immediately for even interacting with a girl. They think that the way they look, maybe their penis size, them not knowing how to have sex, them just being a virgin, they feel all this pressure around them. So just the idea of approaching a woman scares them so much that it angers them because they still want it. And part of that comes from this stigma of society that men should just know. Not only should men know, but men are supposed to be eager for it. Oh, men are always horny. Men are always trying to have sex. Like, dude, as fucking wild as I am, I have never had a girlfriend or anything like that. So no one ever came to my house when I was in fucking high school or anything. So for the longest time, my parents were really fucking confused. They were like, Fidel, dude, like, I didn't act like that at home. So they assumed that maybe, does Dale not like girls? Is there something wrong? And it's just like, yeah, it's like just the idea of you not being a fucking horn dog, looking to bury your bone every 2 seconds, it confuses the older people because they're like, that's what you're supposed to act like. But it's not, like, we're in the time period where there's nothing I need to kill myself for to get. Like, stimulation is everywhere. So I'm not gonna kill myself to get into a relationship. I'm not gonna kill myself to have sex. I'm fine. If it happens, it happens. It's just another fun thing in the day. And for young kids who are like in middle school and like high school, they feel like this is just part of being an adult. Being a man means you have to know how to do these things in your mind. You feel like, yeah, you gotta be able to do this. But why? Nobody fucking taught you. You don't know anything.
Why does it gotta be the man?
No. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. All there needs to be is for people to just help ease everyone the fuck off. it's understandable why you want to have sex. Obviously, I'm not saying anything about, oh, don't do this, don't do that. It's obvious what you want, but you need to remove all the fantasies in your head that are really fucking the way up that you see the world. Like these incel dudes, they get so scared because they feel like the worst case scenario is going to happen for them, and because of that, they get so fucking frustrated at the real world when they see just normal couples or anything happening, and they just look for excuses to justify it. Like, oh, a normal couple over there, oh, I bet that he's a fucking cuck, I bet that he fucking pays for everything. For it's like they need to justify this in their head, because if they don't, then they have to say, oh, well, if normal people can have relationships and even uglier guys than me, what's stopping me? And they don't want to admit it's fear, which is another thing. Men are told they're not supposed to be afraid. It's expected of you not to be afraid. As much as everyone says, oh, we don't really believe in that. Yes, you do. Everyone does. Everyone has this bit of the thing in their mind where, and I'll admit it comes from some of the instincts, because men are a little bigger, a little more muscular or whatever. It comes from this instinct where people expect you to just be a bit more fearless. They expect you to have more courage than, you know, most other people. Yeah. And not everyone's built like that. And so when you have all these fucking assumptions and expectations and you don't meet up to them, you feel like a failure inside. You feel as if something's wrong with you, which is just not the case. And that's why we have so many fucking depressed people out here now. You got so many cases of suicide and just depressed men who feel like they don't even know what the fuck they're doing with their lives, because they don't have any fucking stability in their heads. They feel like they're losing just by existing.
Yeah.
And then every time somebody tries to bring more of these conversations up, they're kind of brushed to the side, or they're only used to bolster up another conversation. Like, one of the things I love about my sister is anytime we do call each other and we start debating a bit, she gives as good as she gets. There's a good back and forth on that. I'm really glad that her mind stays sharp enough over there, because that's one of the things I try to make sure that she never fucking lost, because she's really fucking sharp for whenever she wants to talk about something important.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I ended up telling her, I said, one of the issues is you telling me all this stuff about the female perspective about, oh, men ain't shit. There's a bunch of this stuff that you've experienced from, like, not just you, but from, like, the friends that you have, and even the horrible shit that you've seen dudes do. It's like, I guarantee you, the shit you're telling me, I've seen it multiple times, just as many times on my end from women. I've seen this. I've seen guys I've had to counsel and they're crying into their fucking drinks because they've been fucked over. I've seen so many of this stuff happen, so I know that bad people are not limited to one fucking gender. It's just bad people fucking exist. And everyone has this assumption in their head that they have to take it. Like, when a woman gets fucked over and she thinks she has to take it, she believes that her place as a woman is that she shouldn't expect anything. Oh, men are supposed to act like this. They're supposed to get what they want. I shouldn't be acting like that, but that's not true. When a guy gets fucked over, oh, well, you know, I just gotta suck it up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I can't talk about my feelings. That means I'm weak. Or, oh, I should have just seen that coming. It was really my fault in the end. None of that's true. But there's bullshit on both sides that you've been taught to spin in your head. So it's either something, if you want to get mad, you have a reason to get mad. And if you want to get mad at yourself, you have a reason to get mad at yourself. And everyone keeps running around in circles like this, but they don't understand there's no need for that.
Yeah.
Like, be yourself, be calm, be relaxed. Like, Efren, hell, you just admitted that, I think you said this before, but it's like, yeah, because you said you're ace, right? Yeah. It's like, even something like that is like, it's nothing like that is a problem. Like, that is not an example of you as a man. Whatever. So that's why it's like, you live your life, you do what you do, you say you're getting ready to try to get yourself to be a professor, so it's like, there's nothing wrong with any avenue of your life, so what would it matter if somebody was like, what? You ain't straight or what? You ain't trying to fuck? What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong? Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Again, I feel like a large aspect of that is just sort of like, because some people have their ideals on what is and is not manhood or womanhood, more or less. And so like I think there was a fucking thing I had to do in college where basically like, okay, like you raise your hand if like this feminine stereotype fits you, and like of course the women are expected to raise their hands and all that. Raise your hand if this masculine stereotype fits you. Yeah, and like so it's I don't know if it says something about me, but like stuff like oh, raise your hand if when you go into the parking lot you immediately take out your keys to go to the car. And like all the women of course like did that, and then like I also did, and immediately there was one ass who was like, what, like you don't feel safe pulling out, like I know he said some bullshit, and I was like, it's better to be safe than sorry, asshole. I don't know what else to tell you.
Like I was about to say, it doesn't even sound feminine. It sounds smart.
or like it's one thing, like again, it's like I was basically raising my hand with the females on various things, like how do you spend more than, I forgot the amount of time they said, like do you spend more than this amount of time
getting
like
ready?
Getting ready. And then like again, a lot of the dudes mostly went towards the stereotypes, and I wonder, like, this isn't me like judging any of them, but I wonder if some of them just raised their hands because it was the masculine stereotype. You know what I mean?
That is another possibility.
And I wonder if the same goes for the women. And again, like there's really nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with like taking more than a little bit of time to get ready. But it's like, okay, like again, if you fit a stereotype, is there anything really wrong with that? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Here's the thing: stereotypes are more like tracings of what someone thinks a person is supposed to be.
Yeah.
If you just happen to fit because you just happen to fit, then there's nothing wrong with that. Because here's the other important thing: no one ever fits a stereotype perfectly. Why? Because stereotypes are what the person assumes this is, you know? So everyone's got 500 different versions of what they think is a manly thing, just like they have 500 different versions of what they think a female thing is. So no one fits a stereotype perfectly, ever. So everyone's always a little different from whatever tracing someone has of them. Now, if you just happen to fit and does a lot of stuff, then that's fine. Like, there's no, because you're not compelled to do it. However, it's when you're starting to go against your own desires or starting to try to conform yourself to fit what you think you need to be, that's when that becomes a problem, because then you're going to hit so many roadblocks where something you're expected to do is just not you, and then it's either feel ashamed as if there's something wrong with you, or get used to lying so you can feel like you're fitting in. And just like everybody, for a while you get used to lying to yourself or pretending. But once you hit a certain age, that's when you just gotta be like, man, what's the fucking point? Like, what's the fucking point of me wasting my time pretending? Like, it's not getting me anything.
I know if this says something about me, by the way, but like I think when I was younger, like when we would be going to the store and like, you know, we'd be looking at like clothes and stuff, like they would have like these what do you call it, these posters where it's like women like to show off what they look like in the underwear. And like I remember like thinking like, oh, I'm supposed to get skinny so I can get with the skinny girl, right? Like, so basically I would be like measuring myself, like I think I'm supposed to be as skinny as that girl so I can get with a girl like, you know, like that's skinny, something like that.
Right.
Like, I don't know what the fuck that says about me, but like I don't know if that's just weird like fucking programming in my brain.
That's not what. Yeah, that's not what that says about you. It says what you've been taught. Yeah. Because the media says beautiful people only want beautiful people. So that's what you'll believe. That's why there's so many sitcoms that do the outlier of no. It turns out this super beautiful person wants this ugly guy, this ugly woman.
Oh, I'm very
and yeah, like that. It's such a big deal. Even though, let's be honest, there are not that many 10 out of 10s in this fucking world, and even if there are, they're not perfect, even visually, when they are a 10.
Right.
So the idea that there's this godly, beautiful person, and you're just the lucky person who managed to get in there, it's not that big a deal.
I think just
people. They're all just
when you bring up the whole lucky factor, that pisses me off for some reason. Like, I know why, just them having to say like, oh yeah, you're a lucky man. It's like, isn't she lucky for having me? Aren't I also a pick? Also, by the way, I'm gonna record this. Hold on.